Can you believe that nearly 1,000 people a year die getting tangled in their bed sheets? Well, believe it. And also believe that cheese consumption causes more people to die from getting tangled in their bed sheets. See, look at this graph, not 0.95 correlation coefficient. It's got to be true, right? On a little bit less morbid note, eating more margarine yields a higher divorce rate in Maine, but only in Maine. So, again, 0.99 correlation coefficient has to be true. Now, even if you didn't take statistics in high school, you probably recognize that there is clearly no cause and effect relationship here. But due to the near perfect correlation, someone could certainly advertise that there is, which leads me to what I want to talk about today. Here's a bar chart from Fox News in 2011. I first want to point out that I couldn't care less about the issue that they're trying to get us to care about here. I only care about how they're trying to make us care about it using misleading visualizations. First of all, this is a bad graph in myriad ways, but the primary way is this this y-axis shift that we see right here. They try to intimidate us with one massive box and one tiny box. They try to get people to say, hey, did you know that 5 times more people are on welfare than have full-time jobs? I could just as easily whip up this graph on Excel and say, hey, did you know that nobody has a full-time job and everybody just uses welfare? Now, this is clearly embellished to the point of absurdity, but it really isn't all that far off from how Fox chooses to present their data to elicit a response. Here's what a more accurate depiction of this data actually looks like. Barely any difference, right? You hardly even notice anything. And the only difference between my simple Excel graph right here and Fox News's is that mine is correct and theirs was broadcasted to over 2 million people. So, I think the point I'm trying to make here is fairly clear. However, to bury it home, almost any source you can find uses statistics as a shock factor. Someone could try to get me to join their religion by showing me a chart and saying it's the fastest growing religion at 85%. I could just as easily say, hey, Hayden, you wanna join my religion? If he says sure, then look, see, here's a chart. Here's my religion last year, and here's my religion this year. Look at that growth. Wow, now I have the fastest growing religion this year. In case you thought that I picked an old artifact and that visual data manipulation no longer exists, here is a graph of global warming that the National Review calls the only the only climate change chart you need to see. And this was in 2016. That's right. This effectively horizontal line is the only climate change graph you need to see. Statistics are one of the most useful tools humans have ever created, but they can clearly be manipulated to make one see something that isn't really there, or to downplay the effects of something really devastating. We often form our opinions because they have statistical backing, or we feel that a news company showed an interesting trend that we feel we should believe in. While statistics aren't quite linguistic rhetoric, in some sense they are in fact mathematical rhetoric, and people try to use the tools and tricks that come with the language as a mechanism to fool those who go ahead and trust the people who seem to know what they're talking about. So next time you see a graph, just look a bit closer. Try to be aware of what the opinions they're trying to feed you, and to analyze so try to be aware of what the opinions they're trying to feed you, and to analyze the visual feel of those biases. Do your own research and don't take anything at face value. Try to prevent them from making you blind to the truth. To be truly informed and engaged in civic affairs, stay vigilant when it comes to statistics.